Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bane 101 and welcome to Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War. This is the original Dawn of War and we'll be playing through the entire campaign here, so each episode individually will be for each individual mission. And we're going to be playing with a couple of mods here because, if you didn't know, the original Dawn of War 1 and Winter Assault do not have a supporting 16:9 resolution. In fact, if you were to adjust the INI files, you would still have two black bars on the left and right. So I installed a mod that makes it so I can get these more of a stretched image, but I think it works better for me, especially considering the black bars don't contain the mouse anyway. And I also have a camera mod installed, so I can actually zoom out to what you would see in a 4x3 game. I think you can zoom out a bit farther with it, but since it's single player, I don't think it really affects anyone in the world, so I think we'll be okay with that. Anywho, let's go ahead and click on campaign here, and we're going to load up mission number 1 in Dawn of War. Number 1? I want to keep saying Dark Crusade for some reason, but yeah, let's go on into it.
In the name of the Emperor, you will not falter! We can't hold! Run for your lives! Cowards! You will fight, or you will die.
I am Captain Gabriel Angelos of the Blood Raven's 3rd Company. Status.
My lord, forgive me. We have done all we can to stop the orcs, but we have failed. My men's lives are yours.
You stood your ground in the face of the Emperor's foes. You've done your duty. If your men have failed you, I will leave their judgment in your hands.
Thank you, my lord.
I am not here for your thanks. This port must be held if we are to maintain troops and supply lines to the planet's surface. That is why we are here. Now, what of the wounded and the civilians?
Stranded. We have few ships.
Then you shall have more. All Blood Raven flights execute Protocol 23 and initiate civilian evacuation. We will dispatch the ground forces.
Yes, my lord.
Ground forces, my lord. But the orcs have retreated.
You must know your enemy to defeat them, Colonel. Orcs only retreat to regroup. They will keep coming until you or they are dead. Brothers, let us destroy this alien filth.
Alright ladies and gentlemen, and there's your intro to mission number 1. Now this will be the tutorial mission, which means Gabriel Angelos, that force commander over there, as you can see, is going to be doing a lot of tutorial stuff, so I'm actually going to mute him for this playthrough by going to the menus here and going to options and just turning down his voice volume, because he's going to be just saying, oh, build this, build that, and explaining strategic points, and I'd rather explain those to you guys instead, because I think that would work out a lot better. So now every now and again, whenever he's talking, you'll probably notice that the audio will go down a little bit, but don't worry too much about that, because I'm going to do my best to try and explain what's going on here. So this is Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War 1. This is a real-time strategy game that uses two different resources. It has requisition points, which are similar to minerals in StarCraft 1 and 2, and then it also has fuel. And you get these minerals by collecting these resources from strategic points. And these are these little flags that we're building up here, which are like little, well, they're little beacons, I guess you could say, that have computers and radio signals on them. But all you need to know is that once you capture this point, this will allow us to be able to grab some more requisition here. So at the top left of the screen, you'll see here in this blue number that we are getting requisition, and now that we click on this captured strategic point, we are getting +6 requisition per minute. I believe that is what it is. It is per minute. That is how much you get for requisition, and right now we're getting +32. Now we can even improve this by going to one of our servitors here. If I select the one that's currently free, we can go build and build a listening post on top of this. Not only will that protect the listening post, but it will also allow us to get double the requisition points necessary from that point. And later on in the campaign, we'll be able to upgrade them even further. What we just built here was a chapel barracks. You're able to build things only with servitors in this game. There are no tech priests for the Space Marines. Those are later introduced in Winter Salt for the Imperial Guard. And you use the servitors, of course, to build various items and buildings in the game. Right now, we only have very limited access in this playthrough. For Mission 1, we are only going to be able to build so many items, such as just Space Marines, and we'll be able to upgrade our Space Marines with various types of weaponry. Now, you may be wondering, what type of weaponry is there in Warhammer 40,000? Well, right now, with our Tactical Marines, these are the most basic unit of the Space Marines. As you can see, they have bolters on them, and on the bottom right of the page here, you'll see that they can also be upgraded with flamers, heavy bolters, plasma guns, and missile launchers, each with their own unique perks. For example, flamers will affect morale, which is this little blue number here below their health, which says NA, because there's a full squad of them. In fact, if we click on our Force Commander, because he's a single unit, he actually has a health number, but in Dark Crusade, they actually have health numbers for the whole squad's health. But in this one, they do not have anything like that. But the reason to upgrade your stuff, you want to do damage to either their morale or their health. Morale means that they will do less damage to you, and you will do more damage to them, and they will die very, very quickly. Basically, if you lose your morale, you're probably going to want to run away as soon as humanly possible, or else you will take a lot of damage. Now, there is an orc base over here near this next strategic point, so we're going to send some of our troops over and go attack that. We're even going to right-click on our reinforcement button so we can get a bigger squad that we just built. Usually when you build a squad of units, that means that squad is going to be at its weakest state with no upgrades and no additional units available. And right now we just maxed out our squad cap there. You have various types of caps in the game, such as squad cap and vehicle cap. And orcs actually even have another resource. They have a WA. So as you can see, these little WA banners here. The more of those they have, the more orcs you're going to see on the field. So destroying those means you're going to be stunting the orc growth and all of that stuff, which is very important for us. You may also notice that some of the orc buildings do have guns on them. Orcs like to put guns on pretty much everything they can find. So you're going to have to be very careful when you're assaulting them. But luckily in Dawn of War, it doesn't matter if you're shooting a building with a bolter because it does not affect the chance to break an item or anything like that. So I believe our Force Commander did tell us to go ahead and build an armory, which we're going to do right away. This armory is going to allow us to get access to some better upgrades, and we're definitely going to want to get some heavy bolters coming out here as soon as possible. And we're helping out our Force Commander here on the eastern side, taking out some of these shoot-a-boys. Whenever you see that circle go around an enemy unit, you might see it over here as we fight some of these enemy slug-a-boys. Whenever you see a red circle appear around them, it means that their morale is broken and we're going to be doing additional damage. Now, there is actually cover in the game. You might see these little shields above our characters as you walk into this crater. This is light cover right now. There's light cover, heavy cover, and negative cover. So light cover means that you pretty much move slightly slower than you normally do, but you do receive a cover bonus, and this bonus will allow you to stay alive for longer. It's always a good idea to go for a cover bonus because you will be able to survive for much longer. Now, we just finished our armory here. We're actually going to upgrade our heavy weapon increase, so that way we can get a maximum of 4 upgrades per squad. And if we right-click on heavy bolter here, it will automatically pay for a bolter if available. And we're also going to get flamers here and more heavy bolters. I'm going to go mostly heavy bolters here, which will slow us down a little bit. There is a bit of a setup time for your groups that have heavy bolters, but it shouldn't be too dampening on our ability to move around and do damage. And of course, I've controlled this entire army here of Space Marines as we move up to try and assist this Imperial Guard regiment here that's chilling out in heavy, or light cover rather. I don't really know where we'll find some heavy cover. Obviously, it's dependent on the map designer and where he decides to put heavy cover. Heavy cover is very useful for holding out, and there's various different stances in the game that we can use. So, for example, you may be noticing, like, oh, the Force Commander keeps going into melee combat. Why doesn't your Space Marines go into melee combat? And that's actually because of these little buttons right here on the bottom right of the screen. we have hold ground stance and we have range stance. Now the Force Commander, if we go to him, he actually has, if we just click on him specifically, has assault stance enabled. So that means he's just going to go into melee combat as soon as possible. He's going to also pursue enemies because we have hold ground stance. Now, hold ground stance, what that means is that you will pursue an enemy if they get close enough, and if they run away, you'll return back to your previous location. This sometimes could lead to your troops actually running across the entire map or being kited around the map, and if you don't want that to happen, you can simply actually go to your Space Marine squad and select a button here that puts you on stand ground stance. And basically what that means is that your squad is not going to run and charge towards enemies foolishly. They will wait it out and wait for the enemy to come into range, and they won't engage in melee combat as fast as normal engagements would go. We're also going to grab some more heavy bolters here because I did get the upgrade after they finished upgrading, and these upgrades are not particularly that slow, so nice for us, but I completely forgot and didn't notice until just now. Now we do have to be a little bit careful. We are getting pelted by a lot of enemies here. Some of our Space Marines may die, and if a model does die with an item on them, like a war gear piece, like a flamer, if that piece dies, that means that piece is gone, and we'll have to re-buy not only the person that died, but we'll also have to buy the weapon again. So always a good idea to keep an eye on your units and figure out who's being attacked here. But it does seem like these wall banners are not doing that much damage to us Space Marines, and of course Space Marines with just dinky little bolters are able to still survive, building fire and all that stuff. There's even a tank over here which we're going to destroy. Now the tank is at a pretty low HP, and it's very difficult to kill tanks in this game if you just have bolters, but alas, it's at low HP, so we're pretty much able to kill it no problem whatsoever. And while we're up here, we're obviously going to try and get all these strategic points, because if you look at our objectives under secondary, we have secure the spaceport, which is to capture all strategic points, and save Tartarus Defense Force. Now, this one, I don't think I ever really complete this one too much. There's not... I don't know if I can ever find all the Imperial Guard. They're around here somewhere, but as you can see, the whole map is blank, so you have to walk over it before you can actually see what exactly is there. So it becomes a little bit more difficult to understand, like, which direction I want to go. In Dark Crusade, it's similar to just doing skirmishes over and over again, so it's a little bit easier to navigate and figure out, where all the enemies are and where possible routes would be for your allies. In this one, you have to do a lot more exploring to realize where all the secrets are and all that stuff. We're just going to move out over here and kill a few more orcs that I think are up in this corner. And yes, I have played this mission a few times. Also, we're going to satisfy our Force Commander and build a lovely little plasma generator here. Now, at the top left of the screen, you do see our squad cap is capped out, so it means we can't get another Space Marine squad. However, there is a way to get one in mission number 1. Considering the game limits you with how many Space Marine squads you can have, you can actually delete your servitors and build another squad. And the game's also nice enough to give you an extra servitor anyway in case you do delete them. So if I go here to my servitors and decide to build another Space Marine, you'll see that it allows me to do so because each servitor is worth 1 squad cap, where each Space Marine is worth 2. And it even gave us another servitor. Now the thing is, we'll need to delete this servitor before this thing builds because it is taking up a slot, giving us 9 squad cap in total, which does suck, so we do have to build that. And also, I'm going to recapture these points real quick. Oh, there we go. I'm getting a little bit lost on the map for some reason. And let's get this guy here, I guess. Yeah, there we go. We'll try and grab the other strategic point, and here's what we do. Delete the squad, which gives us another Space Marine squad, and another servitor who is about to be drop potted in. In fact, the moment your servitors die, they immediately get you another one because the game is so nice to you. Alright. And what we can even do, because we're awesome people, we can just build a lot of these power generators. You can have a total of 6 power generators. Each HQ gives you access to 6 more. So if you build another stronghold, you get 6 more of these power generators, which are very useful for getting you the fuel resource. Now, these are definitely not necessary for mission number 1, but I might as well build them because why not? And also, there we go. Did we capture the point? We did not capture the point. We need it in the name of the Emperor. The Emperor demands that we capture these points and put our flags on the ground, and we will surely do that. Oh, we've got a lot of Slugga boys here. We'll have to go... Oh, no, Slugga boys. Sorry, I mean Shooda boys. How foolish of me to say. And of course, our Force Commander. The great thing about having a melee unit, and later on we'll get assault units that can go into melee combat as well, a lot more often than a tactical marine. But the great thing about melee units is that they actually take the whole squad that they're attacking, and the whole squad has to pile in and attack the person that's meleeing them. which is fantastic against ranged units. In fact, if they sent a bunch of Storm Boys against us, we'd be in a little bit of a pickle there because of the fact that we need to deal with melee combat. Now, looking at our damage numbers here at the bottom of the screen, we do 25 to 31 damage in melee combat, but we do 22 to 27 damage in ranged combat. So technically, a Tactical Space Marine at the very beginning of the game is better in melee than they are in ranged, which is pretty cool. However, we've upgraded our guys with heavy bolters, so this means they do 70 to 93 damage at a longer range, which is indeed effective against infantry. Now, this is not effective against heavy infantry. If we wanted to be effective against heavy infantry, which, to let you guys understand what heavy infantry is what these guys are. These guys are indeed heavy infantry, because they wear power armor, which is very powerful gear that allows them to stay alive for longer. A light infantry are these slugger boys here that are on the ground, which is why heavy bolters are so good against them, including flamers as well. So we use those against the orcs to be able to kill them very, very quickly. We also have plasma guns, though, which are great against those heavy infantry, like I was saying. And then we also got missile launchers for those pesky vehicles and structures that may be trying to, overflow you, or if you're just in a situation where you just need to destroy a lot of listening posts. In fact, missile launchers are one of the best ways to deal with most structures, if not all structures in the game, especially with tactical marines, which are pretty much effective against everything. Now here's a Lehman Russ, is one of the Imperial Guard little things here. These tanks are very, very powerful, and you may look at the health bar, which goes immediately down for some reason. I don't know what made them decide that it should go to 0 health, because almost no one's going to use this tank immediately. They're going to have to repair it. But I guess it's to teach players that, hey, not everything is perfect. You have to repair it all. But it's all good. We'll still send it forward anyway, because it doesn't matter if we lose any troops. In fact, I think there might be some Imperial Guard back here. You know, I'm going to send some troops back. Now that I think about it, I never checked this area to see if there's any, like, engagements going on, but now that I'm looking at it, I can kind of, like, glitch out the map with the camera mod and see that there might be a little bit of engagements over here. And we still haven't completed the Save the Tartarus Defense Force. Now, the thing is, I don't think this will give us any bonuses for mission number 2. I don't think there's any persistent objectives here. There we go, yeah. There is a little bit of a combat going over here, and I think this is the last area to check. I'm fairly certain, anyway. And so this would be a pretty easy engagement for us as long as we just keep sending our troops forward. And heavy bolters are extremely powerful here, so we shouldn't have any trouble firing into this massive amount of orc sluggaboys. Now, cool thing is, if you ever played the tabletop, you know that if you're in the assault phase, and if there's a bunch of troops fighting other troops in melee combat, you can't fire into that squad unless you're using some sort of ordnance or something like that. In this game, it doesn't matter. You can just fire into squads. You don't have to worry about friendly fire or anything of the sort, so it's pretty damn safe to fight them like so. And there we go. We got a bunch of Imperial Guardsmen. Their morale's going up, and we completed the objective, Save the Tartarus Defense Force. Excellent. We are the greatest in the world. And we even have the Servitor coming on in to finally repair the Lehman Russ. And the Lehman Russ should really have no problems dealing with all these sluggaboys. As you see, he just one-shotted pretty much all of those orcs with no problems whatsoever. Because the Lehman Russ tank is armed with 3 bolter guns, and he's also armed with a giant cannon that has knockback on it. So whenever it hits the ground, it leaves a crater and blasts back all infantry in that spot that are susceptible to knockback. And I believe the only characters that are not susceptible to knockback are usually vehicles and Terminators, and anything that's really, really heavy on the ground. Terminators are like super heavy units, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so as you can see, if you hover over some of the units here, it even tells you that they're heavy infantry, so you can get an idea as to what is effective against what. So Chaos, if we ever fight Chaos in this game, we'll be getting some plasma guns, because those are pretty damn strong against Chaos. Although they also have those pesky cultists in their squads too, so you never know. And luckily our Servitor is repairing this vehicle quite fast, so we shouldn't have to worry about him going down. And our heavy cannons are blowing everything out of the water. And just before the final victory, we're going to turn back on the voices, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this little playthrough of the first mission for Dawn of War. And of course, in the next episode, we'll be taking a look at mission number 2. So let's eradicate the orcs out of here. And if you have any questions on the game, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'll try and answer them, but I will be doing a few missions in succession here, so it might take a few episodes before I can respond.
That's the last of them. Space Marines. Well done, Blood Ravens. Victory is ours. I am honored to be in the presence of a librarian. I wish to know how my men can better serve you.
We shall wait for the captain to finish his prayers. I saw you stand against the orcs. You are a brave man, Colonel. I wish I could say the same of your men.
I shall strengthen their resolve, my lord.
See that you do, or we shall do it for you. You have something you wish to say. Say it, Colonel.
How did you know?
Even without my psychic gifts, it is obvious. Speak.
Is it true your company eradicated a heresy on the planet of Cyrene recently? An exterminatus, down to the planet's last man, woman and child.
Colonel, your company is welcome, but such questions are not. Do not ask the captain about Cyrene if you intend to remain in his good graces. Brother Captain, the Colonel wishes an audience with you.
Thank you, Isidore.
My lord, my Tartarus 37th Imperial Guard Regiment stand ready to serve you in protecting the city. They wish to make amends for...
They will have many opportunities to prove themselves warriors worthy of the Emperor. The Blood Ravens are leaving the city. Its protection is in your hands.
I will ready my men. May I ask what your next course of action is?
Orcs only respect strength. I intend to show them that we have it in ample supply. Excellent. This orc camp has been destroyed.
Thank you guys for watching. You can subscribe here on YouTube, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, or if you're interested in watching my live streams, I go live every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. And of course, you can join the Baneling Army on Steam at steamcommunity.com/groups/Baneling Army. All right, I'll see you all in the next episode.